Hey everyone, it's Jim T. Graham and Jason Cole with RCGroups.com. We're live with the RC update. Let me just adjust my camera to keep everything super professional. Jason, what's going on?
What's happening, everybody?
I like how we both have our intros. I'm like, hey everyone. So I don't know if I told you this the other day. I was at I did tell you this, I was at the Labor Day function for our local club. And it's not like Joe Nall or Seth. There's probably 50, 40 people around there.
Yeah,
And
a
I
lot of
just
guys up here.
happened, were you there when I
I
talked
was
to the
there.
whole audience?
I don't know. I left before you did.
Uh, well, I was
Maybe it
standing
was
there
after.
with Bryce and we were talking about something. And I just happened to be standing in front of everyone in front of the area there where we fly. And Bryce turned to me and he said, hey, I think we need to tell everyone about Nashbro when it is and that they can just bring whatever they want to fly. And without even thinking, I went straight Joe Nall on him. I went, hey, everyone, I'm
Hey,
Jim T.
everybody.
Graham with RCGroups.com. And as soon as I got to that place, I thought, this is totally not the appropriate venue to yell like I met Joe Nall. Everyone in the gazebo stopped and turned and looked at me like some stuff was about to go down. I said, and that has nothing to do with anything. I just want to tell you about my event that Bryce and I are hosting. And I invited everyone, but I immediately went too far, too fast.
That's hilarious. No, I must have been gone. I missed that one.
That was good.
I could see it in my head, though.
Yeah, yeah. Just imagine the 3D line, except with like 8 people.
Oh, goodness.
So I was talking to Jason. We were making sure that everything was working. So I guess the one thing we should do here, Jace, do you have YouTube fired up?
I do, yeah. We're on the chat
It's live.
right
Awesome.
now.
All
I'm
right, all
paying
right.
right now.
Well, then I'm not going to sweat that right now. I'll go straight into our first topic, and we were discussing what we were going to discuss. And so I assumed that Jason had talked about taking his FAA 107 test, which for those who don't know, Jason will tell you why you have to take such a thing. Then Jason will tell you how he studied for it, and then he'll tell us how the whole damn thing went. And then watch
Yeah.
this. I'm about to get fancy on us.
Oh, do it. Oh, hey.
Ah.
It's me in full screen. How about that? So, yeah, September's kind of a crazy month because it's my 40th birthday in 2 days on Saturday. So with that comes crazy things like concealed carry permit renewal, driver's
Oh.
license renewal, and it just so happens to be the 2-year anniversary of concealed my Part 107 FAA drone license. So in order to stay current, you have to take a recurrency test every 2 years. And so I was like, okay, here we go. We're going to do it. And the first time I took my test, I used UAV Ground School. It's Cliff Whitney's, he's part of it, program with Atlanta Hobby, but it was a fantastic course. I can highly, highly recommend it. It's extremely well done. It's all online. You can do it on your phone or computer or whatever, anywhere. And it goes through the information, makes it easy to understand, talking to kind of non-pilots in some of the terminology, helping to explain it. So that was cool. So I was like, hey, you know what? I'll log back in and see what I can study. And I figured I might have to figure out like what I need, because on the recurrency test, they leave off things like weather, loading and performance, radio stuff. So there's a lot that you have to take on the first test that you don't have to worry about for the recurrency test. So I log in to UAV Ground School, and they have a BAM recurrency test section. So I was like, oh, this is awesome. So it basically just boils down to only the content that you need to know for the recurrency test.
Wow. Now, did
So
you have to pay extra, or was it a part
no,
of your
this,
initial
like, once
fee?
you pay and have access to this, it's for life. So you can use it for every recurrency test. It's constantly updated if there's any rule changes or new, information or new requirements that the FAA is going to give you. So that's what I love about it, is it's updated, it's one time, it's free, it's for life afterwards.
Jason, I think
And
they should have you on here as like your little picture there that
yeah,
says,
I did a review on the initial service 2 years ago, way back when,
right.
and talked about it. And so I went in and looked, and it's like, I kind of remember a lot of this material, so I'm just going to take the practice test. And in order to pass, you have to get a score of 70% or greater. So I was like, I'll just take a practice test and see what I do. So I was going through the practice test, and there was things I was like, I don't remember going over that at all. But I took the test. I got like an 85 the first one. And then I just, instead of studying, I just kind of kept taking practice tests and would like figure out what I missed on each, question. And then I would kind of learn that part of what I missed. And I just took probably 5 to 6 practice tests. And then I was scoring like super high 90s. So I was like, okay, should be plenty. There's only 40 questions. I got to get 70%. This ought to be a piece of cake. So and then I forgot how to even do the test. Like, I was like, okay, what do I do? I went to the FAA website and had to read all this information. I was like, oh yeah, I have to find a testing center. I called the testing center and they're like, no, you can't book it with us. You have to call this number and they have to schedule and take your money. I was like, this sounds like a scam, but it's totally not. So, but you have to call the services. I don't remember what it was called now, but you call them. It's an 800 number or something. They take your $150, which is what it costs, and they schedule you with, you get your choice of where you want to go if there's multiple testing centers like there are in Nashville. So I picked the one at the airport, and I went in. They give you like an hour and a half. You can't take your phone in. You can't take your smartwatch in. You have to, lock all your stuff up before you go into the actual testing area. You get a computer, a couple sheets of paper, a reference book. The guy kind of goes through and, see if you have any questions, and you get an hour and a half. I think I was out of there in 20 minutes. I just blew through it, got a 98. I only missed one question. So I was like, hey, this UAV ground school stuff's awesome. It really worked. And I really appreciated not having to deal with a lot of the nuancy weather stuff that doesn't matter for drones. You still have to do airspace and air charts, and still it's probably 80% stuff that has no bearing on commercial drone flying whatsoever, but it is what it is. You got to know it. You got to do it and pass the test to keep flying commercially. So
do you think they do that just to weed people out, just to keep from every Joe Smo trying to get a license?
That's a good, I think on a logical level to them, it makes sense to say these people are going to be flying in the airspace where other airplanes are flying and things. And so we want them to have kind of similar knowledge as the real pilots do, and they're flying in the same circumstances. And you are and you aren't. I mean, a lot of times you might not even fly higher than a tree, and who cares what class airspace you're in or what the typical landing pattern is of an airport that's 30 miles away. I mean, nobody gives a crap. It makes no difference to that particular flight. So it's kind of a weird thing, is you can have all this knowledge and know all this airplane piloting stuff and not know a lick about how to fly a drone. Safety procedures, emergency procedures with the drone, not know a single thing about how to control it. And you can get your commercial license and go out and go do it.
Wow.
And I'm like, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, they should have at least like driving a car. You have to go fly the drone, but I guess that'd be too complicated.
It's cool, like if with guys like me that are RC guys, like we know how to fly. We have lots of experience controlling it, knowing how to handle an emergency situation and without panicking. And then all we got to do is learn the bits and pieces of knowledge that we don't even have to use just to pass a test. And then you forget it for 2 years and move on. So anyway, it was fun.
I wanted to share something. I was just thinking this might be applicable to you guys as RC enthusiasts who may go to events and things like that. Jason and I were headed out to the Horizon E-Fest. We were talking about his little car that he drives and how he can buy a trailer hitch.
Hey, let's get it straight. It's called Horizon RC Fest.
What did I say?
E-Fest is something else.
Yeah. And so then I started like coming up with ideas, because Jason loves it when I come up with ideas. And I'm like, you could do this. You could have a pop-up. You could do a blah, 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 blah. So anyway, Nashbro was on top of us. And I've done a couple of ways at Nashbro. We used to have the Hell Wagon, and it's gone. And then one year I drove home every day, and that was terrible. And so then I stay with Bryce and Liz, and that's cool. But then I tend to stay at their house way too long in the morning, because I'll get on RCGroups, answer emails, and make sure everything's cruising and going right. And then I always feel like I got to the field too late, right? So this is the part that I'm sharing with y'all, the solution I found that you might find interesting too. I went to this site called outdoorsy.com and you rent RVs, but this isn't like an RV place that has 28 RVs. Jason
That's
and
what I want on that picture right there. It's exactly what I want.
the pop up. Oh,
That
yeah.
sits
So
on
it
my
sits
roof.
on.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Well, I guess you can get it on here. I'll check it out in a second. But so I've been looking at RVs, but I don't want a real RV and I don't want a big RV. And I kind of want a cool little RV, something like this, something that would not be too big, but would
You've
also.
owned a camper before. You know what that's like.
Yeah, so I did. I owned a 27-foot camper and I sold it because every year things would break on it and things like that. And so I got on this site and just started looking. And basically, what you do is you put in your hometown and then you put in your dates, and then it'll start showing you RVs in your area that you can get. So I would say the average price is between 110 to 150 for like a pull behind. So this is sort of what I wanted. I was looking for this retro 50s thing. But what I realized quickly was insurance, travel insurance, delivery, Blackwater dumping, and all that stuff. Everything adds up pretty quick. So what I thought I would just do is show you what I wound up with for Nashbro, which hopefully will do everything that I am hoping. So this actually is a little RV trailer camper built like 50 miles away from my house. I found this guy on the internet and he custom built all these little RV trailers. And I was like, that's the guy. I'm going to go find this guy and we're going to custom build something. But then I found out, Jason, the terrible news that he had died. Hey, remind me to tell you the stupid story in my truck so I don't forget it. But he died 2 years ago. He's not making any of these trailers. That's all over. But this guy actually had one. Let's see if there's some pictures here. It doesn't matter. Basically, there's a shower, a bathroom, a bed, an air conditioner, and a desk. And so this would be like an office I could use at the field.
Yeah, and the best part is it's at the field.
Yeah.
You don't have to travel with it. You don't have to deal with it. It's just there for you.
So this guy is going to drop it. Now I could go get it to Murfreesboro and I still have the black truck. I could go pick it up and bring it, but he, for a fee, and it wasn't too much, like $25, he's going to drop it off in the field. And if I need to move it, certainly there'll be a truck there that we can move it with. Mm-hmm. And so the other thing was power. This thing does not have a generator, which is why it's $59 a day. And so a buddy of mine, I called him and I said, are you bringing your big generator? He said, yeah, I'll bring it. So I'll be pulling juice off of friend's Jenny that'll be at the event. And if I owned it, I would own my own generator that I would wheel out when I got somewhere and put it out behind the thing and run it that way. But anyway, he's delivering it. It's going to sit there. It'll allow me to work at RCGroups and then also be sitting in front of this trailer at the same time. So it's awesome. And then I actually was able to contact this guy. And I talked to him. I told him where it was going to be dropped off, what I'm going to do with it. We talked about how I was going to clean the Blackwater out of here. And I'll end here. So all these trailers have Blackwater that you have to dump, or it's $100 for them to do it. And for me to do it, I'd have to drive up to Highway 96 to a truck stop. And I was like, I'm not doing that. And so this has a cartridge, which is like a gas tank underneath the trailer. And I take it and dump it into the porta-john, which we have, literally will be behind my trailer. And so all that stuff I can do right there in the field. And then when he comes and picks it up, it'll be ready to go and be gone.
It's great. I mean, some of those, it's just a great idea for shows if you don't want to, leave the field, because some of the best stuff happens, early morning, late evening, whatever. You're back at your hotel and stuff's happening and you miss out on a lot of the event and the experience of it. So it's kind of cool to not own a trailer or have to deal with the storage and maintenance of it, but just have it show up and be there for you.
And at a very low price. The T-shirts it's just so inexpensive. I'm going to show a picture here and tell a story real quick.
Just a truck story?
Yeah, this is the truck story. So this is my daughter, and she's in college now. And so I drove down to visit her on Sunday. And she asked, did you see this, Jason, where she drove my truck?
I did see that, and I couldn't believe it.
Well, it's in a parking lot, but
you let a teenager drive your truck.
She asked me like 3 or 4 times, And she is the same person as she was about 3 weeks ago when she left for school. But some reason it's like different now for me because she's gone. So for those of you who have kids that aren't out of the house, you don't think anything major will change. But when they're like gone, it's so weird. Anyway, I said, sure.
Does that mean she's not a dependent on your taxes anymore after this?
I don't know. I'm sure
How does that work?
There's certainly money going in that direction. So I got to think. That's a good question. I just was talking to the tax guy today. So I have a stupid story. I'll jump out of here. She did drive the truck. I was driving home, and so this was 4 hours in this truck over like 98-degree weather, had the windows up and the AC on. And so I've spent the past 4 months getting everything working. So it was before it was throwing belts. The AC didn't work. I had a noise coming out of the rear end, which I figured out. And so the goal is that I want the whole little truck to be able to take us somewhere one day, Jason and I, to an event. And so this was a great test because it was so hot and every system was going. I was literally in stoplight traffic for it was terrible. And I thought, if the truck doesn't blow up today, it'll be good.
The heat test.
I'm on 24, almost home, headed towards Bell Road, which used to be your exit. And so to back up a little bit, Maeve had been in the truck playing her music. I have a pretty fancy head unit in there that flips up, and it's got Windows-based stereo. And so I was trying to see what the engine temp was from the computer through the radio, right? And I couldn't get it to reset. And I turned the radio or the head unit off and turned it back on. And I guess there's a delay because all of a sudden, going 75 miles an hour in the fast lane, maybe 80, all I heard was, and my brain immediately says, I'm dragging something. So now I'm going through, what could I be dragging? And I said, you're probably dragging that horn that you put on with the digital musical horn. It probably fell off and it's dragging. And I'm like, it'll fall off in a minute. And I'm like, no, that's something much bigger. I got to get off the road. So I got off the highway without being hit from behind, thankfully. And the minute that I pulled over, it was still going. And that's when I knew it was AM radio at 10, blasting through all 6 speakers I'd thoroughly installed in the truck.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, I'm so
happy. AM radio static.
Nothing's wrong. And B, I'm glad I didn't get hit from behind when I stabbed the brakes on the highway. So stupid.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome.
You know, I've learned not to tell a lot of stupid stories about myself because it makes you look stupid. But some stories are so stupid, they must be told.
I like it, man. Nothing wrong with that.
Let's jump over to the live chat. Heck, I'll even show it to you. So, you cannot. I don't know. In the old days, if you went back and rewatched the live broadcast, you could see the live chat in the sidebar. Am I incorrect?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I think it's only there for the live part.
Well, let me say this to you. If you want to be a part of the live show, you definitely have to hit the subscribe button and the like button. And if you hit the like button, I can guarantee you won't crash the next time you fly. Right, Jason?
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
That's a Jim T guarantee.
No, it's not. No, there's no guarantees. That's not a guarantee. It's merely a good luck thought invocation. But anyway, here's a live chat. So you'll get an announcement that says, hey, they're live, and you can watch us live. And I was thinking I might try to do something live out of Nashbro on Thursday.
Cool.
Just to keep something going, because why not? We did it at the Horizon event. And so, hey to everybody on the live chat. There's Jason and his hat. Jason, you got to get a new hat, man.
I like this hat. There's only about 3 hats in the world that fit me correctly, and this is one of them.
I did not know you had a funny head.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now we're on RCGroups.com.
So I've got a buddy that his superpower is he can pull off any sunglasses. Doesn't matter, kids, women's, doesn't matter. He can wear these sunglasses, and it looks good on his face. I have the opposite with hats. Is almost every hat looks terrible on my head. So I don't know. Just blessed that way, I guess.
You bought multiple copies of that hat?
I tried. I've tried to go look. I've had to use some repair tape on it. I've actually stitched the top where it was separating from the bill. Like I've sewed it back together. Like I'm making it last, man.
I thought that was like a distressed hat.
No, it
It's
is
naturally
distressed from about 20 years worth of
well. When you need the
being
saddle
used.
sewing machine, I got it over here. We
There
can
you go.
probably heavy duty sew it up. So RCGroups.com, we're going to go look at the news today, what's happening. Jason, I feel like I've been doing a lot of stories this week.
Well,
And
good.
some of them stories you've already done.
Yeah, I looked up and that charger was sitting on top of my charger, and I was like, wait a minute.
I didn't see it. I don't know. I was like, I'm going to be sneaky because High Tech always sends me information through my my old Jim Graham account.
Uh-huh.
And I'm always like, Jason hasn't even seen this. I got it.
Oh, I got the email. I was like, hey, okay, let's talk about it.
All right, let's do a
This is cool, man.
Zoomy zoom.
I don't know if anybody's seen this yet. This came out of the event in Germany recently. Fan flipping tastic. And they got the this tank kind of customed out, and it's not small either. That thing's huge. Kind of match the color scheme of the jet. This is the FAA Avio Lizard. These things are cool looking jets. I know Dan Landis has one he's been playing with lately. They're just really unique looking jets.
I would have already had it on there before I shot the video.
Yeah,
maybe
you know, hey, this is live. It's a live event right now.
I would have started it right there.
So they mount it on the rail, drive the tank onto the runway. So fun. And it actually has an actuator, so it'll tilt.
You would not want to stand in front of that.
No.
Boy, that's a pointy needle on the end of that thing.
Yeah, you don't want to get hit by it. It just looked awesome. It's got to be the coolest thing I've seen in a long time. But look, it'll start tilting up. It's all radio control, raises it. Now, the tricky thing here is they're calling it rocket assist launch, but the rockets, in theory, aren't really doing a whole lot of lifting. It's the turbine jet has a greater than 1-to-1 thrust to weight ratio, so I think the rockets do help though. But yeah, it's going to do a vertical takeoff straight up. A lot of flare and sparks and just it's an awesome demo for the crowd, I'm sure.
I guess that's carbon fiber. You think it'd ruin the wing.
Straight up.
Ooh, it sounds like Mac Hodges.
And then you go do the normal jet demo thing, but that's an incredible way to take off, don't you think?
That's pretty awesome.
So I was like, I just have to share this with everybody because it's awesome.
So here's some interesting news. You always hear a Losi, but you never think of it as a person. Of course, I had to get the name somewhere.
Yeah.
And this came across my desk that Gil Losi Jr. was back with Team Losi. So
I know Gil, yeah.
What? How do you know Gil?
So Gil was responsible for Losi, obviously, his dad and him, way back when. And they, when they sold to Horizon, they sold the name and everything. And then I don't know the whole story, but I know he ended up working for a company called Firelens, which was a company that a buddy, Dave Carley from Horizon Hobby and Hobby Lobby, was working with. And they were selling exclusively to Hobbytown USA. So he was working with Firelens to help develop RC cars and trucks and products for Firelens for the world and for Hobbytown. And he did that for a while, and I think they went under. I don't think they exist anymore. And I hadn't heard what he was doing since then, but now we know. He's back with Losi and Horizon.
How awesome would it be that you are Losi and then you get to go to work for Losi? That sounds like a natural.
That's super cool. Good dude, very knowledgeable. So this is pretty cool stuff. I'm sure a lot of people are excited.
You know what I need to do next is incorporate our screens with this screen over here. I can do that, I'm sure. So then moving on to the RC news of the week, we have a new mini charger from High Tech. I still run a High Tech charger in the back, and that is what will be going with me too. I've just had it for so long, and it better knock on wood. It's worked for I'm talking years and years and years.
Yeah, man, they're good stuff. Hey, say the name out loud. It's the coolest Charger name.
RDX1?
The RDX1, man. What
RDX.
do you charge with? What do you charge with? An RDX1. I mean, it just sounds awesome.
There's no inside joke there. It just
I just think it sounds cool. I think it's a great name. RDX1.
Okay, so memory charge.
You can add a 1 to like just about anything and make it sound cooler.
Connector. Let's go see how much it costs. At High Tech RCD. High Tech has been with us for so long, and I certainly appreciate them. Where's the pricing?
I put it in my article.
Okay.
Down at the bottom.
$42.99. That's how much a battery cost. Grab that in the battery and get going. So I don't know if you've heard, everyone, but RCGroups, the Hangout is back.
What?
I believe the intro to the Hangout was about as smooth as it's ever been this week. So that's awesome. And so basically what I wanted to do was just link to this to make sure people in RCGroups were aware that the magic was happening.
Magic.
So let me preface this by saying I am currently in the background where you can't see working on another person running for the AMA election. And that story hopefully will go live today. And so if you are or know of someone who wants to promote their election bid on RCGroups, I would love to do it. The reason Randy's up here first is because Randy reached out and said, hey, but then again, Randy and I are about to go hang out with each other. He helps me run the Nashbro event here in Nashville. He is in fact the person who said, why don't you run all your insurance through the AMA? Which seems like a natural thing, Jason, that we just never did.
Yeah, I've been like, duh. Yep.
So every year, I not only get insurance for Nashbro through the AMA, I also get insurance separately for the field owner. And now he requires it. Like I had to talk to his lawyer this year to make sure everything on the paperwork was exact. I had to put a D in the landowner's name. I just sent it back. Yeah. So anyway, big thanks to Randy for hooking me up with that. Randy is running for the AMA president. And I'm not saying this, but I am saying that if Randy does become the AMA president, that will mean, and if you're old enough to remember, Jason, the Pro Bros were the scourge of the RC industry.
Is he finally going to ban 3D flying?
No. A Pro Bro will actually be an AMA president.
Yeah, how about that?
Now it's been 16 years, so it's been so long that most people that it might appreciate that might not even remember why it would be interesting.
But it'd be like Colin Gwynn or somebody like that from Drones being the AMA president.
Yeah.
In today's lingo.
Well, I will say that Randy is more an AMA person than a Pro Bro. He just happens to come to the event every year. So I've seen him every year for 16 years. And I will say, if it's dinner time, I do wander towards his tent because there's usually some sort of beans and meat being cooked over there. And I head over. So you can read what he's done, his career in the armed forces, what he's done for the AMA, 22-year veteran of the United States Air Force. I've never asked him about that. And I think I will next week. And so read it, see what you think. If you feel compelled, mark down Randy. And then keep your eye open for other nominees that I will feature as they come in. And then I'll go from there to Nashbro. So I didn't set out to write the stupidest article of the year, but I believe that I really did it. And I really appreciate that Jason noted, instead of showing events that we will have, because I do this for events all over the country. People say, hey, will you promote my event? And then I creatively glean information and create a post that shows what the event's all about. So what I thought I might do differently is show what we won't have. Landing fees, noontime demos, daily raffles, and then my favorite line, and much, much less.
Yeah, I loved it. Much, much less.
And then I went all over the internet looking. I actually took every photo. That's not usual either in these stories that I do. And I just wanted to kind of grab the vibe of the event. There's Jerry L. Smith. I better see if he's coming to see me. And this is probably my favorite thing of the event and my favorite photo. This is where everybody lines up. And usually we're in a circle. It'd be harder to talk this way, but we will be sitting in this area watching people fly and discussing topics that cross our mind, for hours and then for days. And then Jason, we'll show this. Jason, cut this. So let me say this. I'll turn
that was a long time ago. What year was that?
It's timeless, doesn't it? The song was written by a pro bro and produced by a pro bro. And this is the field that we fly on. It's 200 acres, protected. It can't be built on for 100 years. It's got to be historical. And then this is beautiful Leaper's Fork in the background.
It's a fun event. Again, I hate to miss it, man.
I love that somebody wrote a song about being a pro bro.
I know. It's just great.
The line in there that says he never knew he'd be taking it to the top always makes me reflect. Have I taken it to the top? I always get stuck there. I miss the rest of the video contemplating my life. So this is what the sky looks like. We at 12:04 we have a mass hover, and everyone takes off. I get on the mic and I tell them we gather up and get tight, and then we do vertical drag races. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they all shoot up to the sky together to see who can get there the first. So that's the vertical drag race right there. And I want to say that we're old now, older, 16 years older, and so people show up with sailplanes and warbirds, and I'll be showing up with an FPV bird due to limited space, and just we come out and hang out and have a good time. That's what Nashbro's about. It's not real. It's profiles dominate, but that's not what it's all about.
Yeah.
So be sure and check it out. Awesome video, Jason. I was looking at your cloud montage here.
You like that?
Yeah.
That was like, oh, let's do a time lapse
during the guitar solo, and then during that, you actually pop your head in there. So we have night flying. I was talking to Bryce about the lights. Then we have a big bonfire every night, and like the story says, the bonfire's free.
There you go.
And this is everything I've seen: warbirds, sailplanes, DLGs, FPV, quadcopters, and more. And then this is Bryce Custer and I. Bryce taught me how to fly RC way back when. I quote him in the story. Bryce said that when he saw me walk up to the field, I was trying to find someone to teach me how to fly. I had long hair and I was holding about a 1-year-old baby, my daughter. And he said that immediately thought that a hippie had stolen someone's baby. And so this was us flying FPV a year or two ago. And so I bring extra goggles. That's Lizzie Girl. That's Bryce's wife. And she's always out there. She's the queen of Nashbro. And so just come on out and join us and be a part of the photo. And now
it's a good time for sure.
Let's take a pause for all the pro bros we've lost.
Oh, man.
It's amazing. It really will make you, when you look back at a show like that and think about like Buddy Lauder and Dave Matthewson and the people that are no longer here with us, you better appreciate what you got right now, because I'm pretty sure they expected to be at Nashbro this year. You know?
Yeah.
Jason, tell us about the Carbon Z T28.
Oh, man, it's back. I know, people liked it. It's big. I know we saw, who was it? Colton Clark flying one at Nashville somewhere. Was that
He was flying the crap out of that airplane.
Yeah, man. I think you could modify, and people were having fun with it. So, but they came out with it. Sales dropped. They lowered the price a little bit, and they just let it go. And then they had so many people contacting them. Jason said that you're like, okay, we're gonna bring it back, but the deal is not much has changed from the original. It's the retracts did get an update back when it was originally out. So they had a first version, and there was retracts problems people were having. They updated the retracts, and then they sold out. So these are using the latest versions of those retracts. They're not updated since then. But the only other change is they put a new software version in the receiver, so you get Safe Select as an option if you want it. I don't think a whole lot of people are going to need or want that for this airplane, but
right.
It's there if you do.
I can tell you as a non-warbird lover, I don't dislike warbirds. I think they're cool. I don't think I've ever owned one. But when he got that out, and what was he running it on, Jay? $6 something? You remember his wing would flex. Yeah. He would go so fast and then pull hard and make the wings bend. It was just so impressive. I immediately was like, I gotta own one. So good for you.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it looks, I mean, it really does look great. I think that looks better in person than in those pictures.
We have some new Axial Trucks. This isn't really, well, you know, I've always loved off-road cars. I reviewed them for a while, and then I just stopped getting them. But I'm into buggies, especially rock crawlers. And let's see. Let's go down. I believe we've talked about everything else down here. We talked about the M2 already. Talked about Fox Tech. And that is it. So, Jason, what's the big plan? You're going on vacation?
Yep. We're going to finish packing and getting ready. I've got some airplanes. I got some wings right here behind me. Just going to get ready over the next several days and get ready for Tuesday. It looks like they're going to have a big tropical storm hit tomorrow and Saturday and then blow on out and then maybe give us some good weather for the rest of that week. So we're excited. I hope we just don't have any other storms hit while we're there. I don't want to get stuck in Puerto Rico, or maybe I do. I don't know. It's probably a nice island.
I doubt you want to get stuck there, though.
Probably not stuck there, but
without
it'd be nice to be there with some running water and electricity
AC
and stuff.
You can find out what you're made of, though. Live in Puerto Rico for 30 days.
Yeah, we'll see. I hear it's awesome. I've never been. You know, people tell me it's great. And again, I'm going to try to do some RC adventures. So I have a rental car and some airplanes. I'm going to go try to find some slopes. That's probably what I'm most looking forward to, aside from getting to hang out with my wife.
I was debating on what to take the Nashbro. I immediately thought I'm taking the Timber X, and then I'm thinking the Theory Type W wing. I have to make sure it's up and rolling and hot. And I'm trying to keep it compact because of the little red truck, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I still have the big black. So I think what's going to happen is I'm going to load up the big black on Wednesday and dump it. And then come home and then come back in the red truck for the show. I'm sure I'm not talking to any Nashbro people here, but every year I wind up lamenting with my hot rod buddies at Nashbro about the truck I want and what kind I want, what year I want, but how I'm going to get it and how much I need to spend, blah, blah, blah. For a decade, I've been discussing this with the same three guys. And they're going to be there. Yeah, so they'll be there. We'll be able to check it out, go for a drive. It will be the dirtiest it's ever been. It's never been dirty, really. And so it'll sit out in that
get dirty sitting in that field, yeah.
I see myself. I'm curious to see how I handle that. And the carpet's never been dirty.
So, you don't need a camper, man. You just put an air mattress in the back of your truck and put the cover down over top of you. You just sleep with like an inch between your face and the cover.
I could just rent a coffin because it's the same damn thing.
Yeah.
But so I don't know if the Timber X is going to make it. There's also a lot of airplanes in the shop that need to get gone, and this is always a great place. I tend to bring them, and I tend never to bring anything home unless.
What happened? Did you hit something, or did something just happen?
Man, I didn't touch a thing.
Do we have a time? Well, we couldn't have hit any kind of meaningful time. We're back online.
Check. It shows live online.
Yeah, we're back.
You see it. So I always
Packing says I just broke a screwdriver. I'm super strong.
I always find one or two things and I'll refuse to sell them. And then like a week after I get back from Nashbro, I always think, man, I should have sold it. Because it's still hanging here. Those things that I wouldn't sell. I have a killer FPV long distance plane that someone needs to come take off my hands.
Well, speaking of old planes, so my birthday's Saturday. I share a birthday with our best friends who have 9 kids. So their youngest is turning 2. We share the same birthday. So we're having kind of a mutual party. We rented out a pavilion next to the lake, and we're going out by the lake on Saturday. And I'm going to bring my Carbon Z Cessna 150 on floats. and we'll do some flying off the lake on Saturday.
Awesome.
That'll be fun.
That's always, I think, for a kid, sort of mind-blowing, an RC plane.
Oh, yeah.
It's like unbelievable.
Especially one that big, you know. You take these normal little sport cubs and things, and they're cool, but then you see a giant 80-something inch wingspan.
Speaking of which, you know, we didn't talk about is the Greater Southwest Jet Rally in Waco, Texas. Alkaline from Flying Giants uploaded all these videos from that event. And the interesting part, Jason, is that as a kid, I was into RC, but there were no RC fields near me in Sherman, Texas, at least that I knew of. Texoma has a big RC club now. I just don't think I was aware of it. But this airfield, when I went to college in Waco, I would get on my motorcycle, and that if it was Saturday and I had nothing to do, I would ride out to that RC field, and I would never go in. I would sit on the fence and watch it. And so this is the first place I ever saw anyone really fly RC. And I had never even thought that it was attainable.
You know? I don't even think I knew that.
Yeah. And so in fact, one Saturday, stupid story, I was sitting at the light leaving the RC field, and a swarm of bees that must have just left their colony, like 90,000 bees.
Yeah.
They all came through the light. And I'm on a motorcycle. I stopped at a light. I can't go anywhere. And they all swarm me. They're like all around. Are bees swarming you, Jason?
No, I got a solution for that, though. I bought something on Amazon, I got it on Wish. So I'm going to grab it right here, and I'll show you when you're done with this. And I got a story behind it.
But anyway, Waco RC Field, when I saw that, I was like, holy cow, man. Flashback. Where our condo was in Waco is now the stadium for Baylor University.
So, all right, I'm back.
It's all gone.
Woo!
Woo!
All right, so do you remember at Ceph that one year when it was like a gnat fest?
Yeah, where
and
you
the
would
gnats
breathe
were
in
everywhere.
and gnats would go in your mouth.
It was so bad. You couldn't stand to be outside. Like you had to go get inside, get away from it, get into somebody's RV. They were just relentless. There was almost no wind, hot, steamy, and the gnats literally everywhere like a cloud. So I was like, I came across this and I was like, yes, I'm going to have this just with me at all times in case that happens again. And it's a little net thing and it goes over your head and your hat. And then you can fly.
At our field, there's spiders everywhere a certain time of the year, and there's nothing more unnerving than flying with a spider crawling on your face.
Yeah.
So that would be handy for that too.
Man, so I'm like, yeah, I may even bring this to Puerto Rico, man. There's supposed to be some mosquitoes out there if you go on a kayaking tour or something. I could kayak and not worry about my face getting bit.
Awesome.
But you can see out of it, I can fly. So
I'm over here looking for it. During that gnat year, I took the logo and I replaced the main image with a giant gnat. And I'm sure Jeff, the guy that ran it back then, really appreciated that. But it had to be done.
It was so bad, man. It was ridiculous.
You would like inhale and they would go in your nose, and that's when they started crop dusting.
Yeah, it was out of control, and it prompted me to make this purchase. It was probably like $1 or something. So well worth the money.
All right, everybody. Well, this has been the Thursday live broadcast, RC Groups. It's our RC update. It's all the news you need to know about RC. If you have any news that you want promoted, talked about, featured, blah, 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 or an event, or you went somewhere and you took photos and you uploaded it to RC Groups or Flying Giants, let me know, and I will definitely put it up because that's what I like to do. There's nothing better than to have a story in my email box that I know that I can go and create and upload. It's satisfying in some way. Do you feel that way, Jason?
Always.
It's weird. It's like, hey, I got a story. Or like I'll wake up and like I have 3 stories I can do today.
Yeah.
They're right here, here, and here.
Well, it's like one of the few things in our job that is it like shows like progress was made or that something was accomplished. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? It's like you get that satisfaction if I did something. I didn't like change a username or respond to a comment or something. It's like you did something productive.
And if you do it right, people actually start posting to it. And so that's
good.
I'm going to share one more thing. I do not know what I'm going to do with this story, but I did want to share it on the broadcast. So the other day, a thread popped up and it was people talking about RC groups and everything was so positive. I was like, if I don't do something, I'm going to lose this, these quotes from these users. So I started writing. I just opened up this thing and I'm like, I'll put it here and that way I'll have a place. It kind of turned into a story. And so correct me if I'm wrong, Jason. I'm starting to see sites, companies, and people create web forums because I watched a video yesterday and it was a young guy. He's like 26 and he's like, I don't like playing by the rules of Facebook, and I don't like that at any time Facebook can change how my group operates. Mm-hmm. So I've created my own forum. And I was like, holy smokes, I've been saying this since the beginning, you know? So I went through and I have bullet points here on one of my biggest things about social media is that if you post regularly on, let's say, Facebook, that post you made can never be searched or found or reviewed or thought about again after about 12 hours. It's gone. I say it evaporates. And so the beauty about RC Groups, I'm promoting here, but it's a thing I think about a lot is people who work at RC Groups and thrive and try to make it better is that everything that if you did a build thread, a review, talked about how a servo fit this airplane, or I took the servo out, but all that stuff is searchable for people just like you in the future who also have the question. I do it every day, man. I will get on Google and Google my question. And I use Google for RC Groups as much as I use our internal search box. I just put my question in RC Groups and then I find it immediately. And then there's also a thread out there about features users like. I went through there. I did this just to know what you guys like and have it in a place where I could review it. But my favorite is all the quotes, and I wanted to save them because they're just so good. Of all social media sites and information available, I've learned that I get more of the straight scoop on RC Groups than anywhere else. Jim Bronham. Say that to me, and then I can just close the door and go to bed. That is exactly what I want to hear, because that's how I feel, right?
Nice.
And so there's more of this in the live chat. Tell me what you think. Part of me is I sort of don't want to post it. It's more for me just to get all this stuff in one place, but maybe users might need to see it or want to see it. I guess it's done. I could probably push it right now. That is all I have for this week, Jason.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I'm done, man. So we probably won't be on next week unless Jim decides to do a live feed from the Nashbro event on the field.
The only thing that would stop me from that is bandwidth and remembering to do it.
Mm-hmm. Probably the remembering to do it part.
Things. Well, Jason, have a great vacation. Tell Chair I said hello.
Will do, buddy.
Thanks for joining us live. And I feel like we got control over this live feed.
It's happening, yo.
We're going to find out in just a minute when we sign off. On behalf of Matt Gunn, I'd like to say simmer down now. And who invented that? Doesn't matter.
Simmer down now.
Now we're going to find out if the outro video goes. Yes, Jason does get vacations, even though he is living the dream. So now you're going to live the dream on vacation. All right, Bilbo Baggins, good to see you, brother. Good to see all y'all. Good to see you, Daniel. We will be back, but we're always on RC Groups. Once again, if you have anything you want us to do a story on, please send us an email or PM us, and we're out of here. Bye. Here we go. We're big test. Let's see how professional we are.
Uh-oh. Later.
Professional.
Professional.